Those are the two ways of communication. Class Dojo is the parent communication form. I normally have notes in there specifically for parents in the class story, and Google Classroom is more student-centered. So it will not be the exact same thing on Class Dojo as it is in Google Classroom when it comes to my communication with the parents. So, because if I announce something that parents, please do the parent survey, and I post that on Google Classroom, I will have 1,000,001 students answering the questions for me. So things that are just pertaining to the parents, I just post on Class Dojo. As far as the daily agenda, the Zoom meets, anything related to the students, that's on both Class Dojo and Google Classroom. I have a specific office time that is scheduled for each day. For the most part, it's the same day. The only day that it changes is Thursday because it conflicts with Spanish time. And other than that, I'm available. If the students just send me a private comment, if they have any questions about any of the assignments, if they're stuck, if they need clarification, they just need to send me a private comment, and then I get a notification and I will get to that as soon as I'm able to. In fourth grade, we do standard-based grading. So on the report card, you will see a 1, 2, or a 3, sometimes a 1.5, sometimes a 2.5. When you get the report card for the first trimester, don't stress out if you see 2s. Don't stress out if you see 1.5s. It's just the beginning of the trimester. They're still learning. They have not solidified their knowledge in that specific standard yet. So it's different than an ABC letter grade policy. Standard-based grading, when it comes closer to report card time, I will have a little cheat sheet for you so you understand exactly what a 1 means, a 1.5, a 2, so you're not confused when you get the report cards. Late work, I give you the entire day to complete the assignments for that specific day, but if for any reason a student is unable to complete the work due to a family emergency, due to the student just solidly not understanding what the concept is, and just let me know in a Class Dojo message so I'm aware of what's going on. So I don't send a little message, hey, you're missing this assignment. Just send me a message on Class Dojo so I'm aware. That's all I need. I do accept late work, but you need to be in communication with me so we can come to an agreement on when in a specific due date, things like that, because I don't want your student to become so far behind that they're just playing catch up and they're not really retaining the information. PowerSchool is the grading system that we use. That's where I input all of the grades into PowerSchool. So that's where our report cards come from. So Google Classroom, I do post a grade in there, and then also PowerSchool, the grades will be transferred over into PowerSchool. So I suggest if you want to know instantly, check Google Classroom for if they got a 6 out of an 8 or a 9 out of a 10. You can instantly check that. And then PowerSchool is if you want to see how they're doing overall with that specific standard, you can check that as well. There's reading log and spelling that is due. I'm starting that the reading log is started this week. They are supposed to read for 25 minutes every night, and they have to fill out a little Google slide. So they have to write the title of the book they're reading. They can read the same title book every night. That's fine. Somebody asked me that. So if you get that question, they can read the same book every night. They have to read for 25 minutes straight. Then they have to write down the title of the book, how many pages they read, and then there's 2 questions. One is, what lesson did you learn, and who are the main characters, or something along those lines, just so they're getting the idea of how to communicate what they read onto paper. And their spelling, they will have a spelling, it's called a spelling tic-tac-toe. So what it is, it's a sheet, and there's 9 different activities on there. And it's exactly like you're playing tic-tac-toe. They have to get 3 in a row. They can either do it vertically, horizontally, or diagonally. And they have to pick those 3 activities that they're going to do to learn their spelling activities. There's 9 different activities in there, and they're specified in the little, what is the word I'm looking for? Chart. They're in the chart. The directions for that are going to be posted next Monday. So this Monday, they will be getting spelling words. And then every Friday morning, we will have a whole class meeting, and we will be doing a spelling test all together. Once they are done with that, they need to take a picture of their spelling test and upload it to the spelling test for that day. Some of you have been asking me about a supply list. The distance learning supply list is located on the 4th grade St. Joseph's website. So if you go to classes, 4th grade, and you have to sign in, just like Miss Cece and Mrs. Salinas were saying, you have to sign in and then the supply list shows up there. If your child is having a hard time completing a task, or they need a little bit more extra attention with it, I suggest the timer method. Set a timer for such an amount of time, depending on your child, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, see how much of the assignment they can complete in that time. Then they get a reward, or they get to go have a little brain break, just so they can have the ability to be more independent with their work, but also learning to be productive during that time, and then they get a rest. Because if they're just sitting in front, becoming frustrated with the same assignment for a significant amount of time, and they're not getting anywhere, I suggest the timer method, just setting that timer, see how much work they can accomplish during that time, and then they get a 5-minute break. They can do some PE work, they can draw, color, whatever it is their brain needs to do to have that brain break, and then they can get back to work. And
Mrs. Bautista, I have a question.
yes.
And this was going back to the spelling test. I'm just curious, how do you make sure that they're not like Googling the spelling word in another tab, you know, as you're giving the questions, or like, how do you enforce that?
So I have the ability to know if they are on the Google Meet and if they're looking at something else on Google.
Oh, okay. That's good.
That's cool.
I was just curious. I was like, I wonder how, you know, and they're not asking, Alexa, how do you spell blah, blah, blah?
I'm secretly a spy. No, I'm just kidding.
All right.
And that. Does anyone have any questions or need clarification on anything? Don't be shy. Okay. Will we be given codes instructions on how to sign up for PowerSchool? Yes, Mrs. Salinas and Miss Cece will be giving you the instructions on how to log into PowerSchool. So they will be giving you a username and a password. You're welcome. So no questions about the projects?
I have
Yes.
a question. Do you want the students to also have PowerSchool, or is it just strictly the parent side and the students don't have access?
The students do not have access to PowerSchool.
Got it.
Yes, a question, will you be contacting the parents if the kids are missing any assignments? Yes, I will be contacting you via Class Dojo if your student is missing assignments. I first contact the student because part of being in 4th grade is becoming more independent and taking ownership of their work. So I will send them private comments, and if I see after, say if I write it in the morning and by the afternoon I'm not getting a response, maybe the next day I'm not getting a response, then I will reach out to you and say, hey, the question of the day wasn't turned in, just wanted to check and make sure that you knew that. And also, Google Classroom has the ability, when you sign up as a parent, that a summary at the end of the week comes through. So it shows the assignments that your child completed, the grades they received on those assignments, and if that student has any missing work. You also have the ability to look on your student's Google Classroom to see if they have any missing work. And how that works is you would go to their Google Classroom. I will show you my screen. It's just easier that way. And my Google Classroom is a little bit different, but the concept is the same. So you would log on to your Google Classroom, so it would look like this. You go up to the 3 little bars right up here. And then there's this word, it says to do. So click on the to-do list. And mine does not have anything because I'm the teacher, but you can go to this missing assignment tab and it will show up the missing assignments that your student has. So there's an assigned, a missing, and a done. And that's over at the 3 little bars right over here. You can do that for any of your Google Classroom classes, because all of the enrichment teachers will have Google Classroom as well as a Class Dojo.
I had a quick question.
Okay.
How often are you grading? Like how long or when should grades, I guess, be up? Like how often should we check for that?
There are some assignments where instantly when they turn it in, I have the ability to grade it and hit submit, and it goes right back to the student. There are other times where it takes me a day or two to get through it, depending on the assignment and depending on, honestly, what I have going on that day, depending on what type of day it was.
So typically at the end of the week, we would be possibly okay to see what has happened during the week, unless it's a big project, I'm assuming.
Yes, and
Okay.
you can even check daily, just
Okay.
get in the habits of making sure that they actually did their work and that they turned it in. And then you will see some that I have graded and others just a couple of days to get me.
Perfect,
Get it.
thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I see I have will all of the work that will be done independently be taught first? So not all of the assignments will be necessarily taught by me. There are some subjects where they have to watch a video and then they have to answer questions on the video. There are some where it's a grammar lesson, and there will be some grammar lessons that I teach, and other times where I assign them a grammar assessment. So that tells me what they need help with, and then that helps me teach whole class or in small groups, depending on the needs of the students. So it honestly depends on the subject. I will be teaching whole class, small group, or if that just needs a quick check-in one-on-one to see if they're understanding the concepts. Okay, good to know, because my son likes to say he's done and then magically says he has something else he forgot to do. Yes, that's normal. Yes, I talked to many students today. I'm almost done. Well, what do you have to do? Well, I have to do this, and then I have to do this, and then I have to do this. Oh, okay, so you can log off the Zoom and you can get that done. Your child is not alone. They're not alone. They're not the only ones. Did you have any questions about the format of how the daily agenda works? Is that easy to read and follow?
Ms. Batista?
Go ahead.
Ms. Batista, I was the one who asked about the independent work, and if the assignment will be, the lesson will be taught first before the student will be able to do it independently. So are you saying that if the student will not going to be able to do the work because the lesson hasn't been taught yet, it's okay for the student to not to completely do it correctly?
Well, if I assign a grammar assessment, because I have, just because what Mrs. Morales taught in 3rd grade, and we also have new students, and kids learn at different paces, and some have a higher retention level than others. So it's my job is to give them a pre-test, such as a grammar assessment. And then if I see 5 students do not understand what a noun is, then it's my job to have that small group discussion with them, teach them a mini lesson on what nouns are, and then I can reassess them then and see if if they understand the concept. So that determines if I need to teach a whole class lesson, a small group, or if it's just one student that doesn't understand what a verb is, then I just have that discussion with them one-on-one. But I will be teaching them the majority of the standards and the concepts first. But when it comes to like grammar, like I said, or religion, things like that, I give them a pre-test, see what they know, and then I know how to build my lessons from there. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you, Ms. Batista.
you're welcome. Mrs. Tucker.
For the enrichment classes, are they going to send their own links, or do the kids just go to your Google Classroom to get all those links?
So the enrichment teachers are going to be creating their own Zoom links, and they're going to post it in the Google Classroom for the students to click on from there.
Okay. And so I haven't checked this. Is it connected to the student's calendar at all, or is it just in the stream?
So for my class, I do not have them check the calendar
Okay.
because that concept is a little bit too difficult for 9 and 10-year-olds, and I want them to focus on other aspects of technology.
Okay.
The teachers over there, if they decide to set up their Zoom meets through Google Calendar,
Okay.
I am going to let them know that my students are used to looking at the classroom stream. So I will try and have them have it on both, on the Google Calendar as well as the Google Stream. So they have the two forms of finding the link. Because I don't want it to be a fact of, I don't know where the link is, and them freaking out and coming into class all hectic.
Right. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Mrs. Ramirez.
Hi, I just had a quick question. I was just wondering, I noticed some of the assignments have, you ask a couple questions and you have them write some paragraphs and they answer it in the comment box. The other day, Brianna was working on it and she said that she wishes she can type it up on a Google Doc and then submit so that she can type easier, I guess it would be for her.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that's possible, or can we add a Google Doc, or does that make it more complicated for you to go in and grade? And
So that was brought to my attention by other parents, so thank you for bringing that up. I have changed the format when they have to type their answer. The question of the day, they still have to type their answer in that form because that's just how the setup is, but all the others, they will have the ability to type in a Google Doc, whether it be a Google Doc or a Google Slideshow.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
This is Damari. Will there be any breakout sessions for math lessons or reading groups?
Yes, so we are doing so not necessarily breakout rooms, but we're doing small groups. So on the live meet schedule on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm meeting with, I'm breaking the class up into 3 small groups, and they're in 30-minute increments, and we will be doing language arts lessons. So either reading, writing, grammar, we will be speaking, they'll be in small groups. And then if I teach a lesson whole class with math, and I look at the results, and some of the students do not understand the math concepts, then I will contact them, set up almost like Google Meet, a Zoom meeting, and then reteach the lesson so that they have a solid understanding of the math concepts.
Okay. And in regards to math, what should we expect as far as what they'll learn? Will it be just multiplication, division, or something else? Or
Yes, great question. So we focus on fractions, learning equivalent fractions, how to simplify fractions, long division, multi-digit multiplication, and multi-step word problems. So now that I have all you here, multi-step word problems, they're difficult for adults. So just have patience with your 9 and 10-year-olds if they're struggling with multi-step word problems. Just because it comes easy to us and you're like, you should know this, you're 9 and 10 years old, you've been doing word problems. It's a tricky concept. So just take a deep breath, be calm when you're helping them, and just know that this is going to be a steady climb and it's going to be a marathon. It will not be a sprint. They will not instantly get it because they might understand one and then they look at the second question and go, oh, I don't understand this one. So just have patience with them with the multi-step word problems.
another question. Is there any way to incorporate some sort of like computer coding, basic coding, now that everyone's, obviously on their laptop and they'll be on it often?
Yes.
Will we be incorporating that in?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. That was the end of my question.
So coding, in school, we have a whole week of coding, and then there will be specific assignments that I send out that do teach them coding as well. So we will start to implement that.
Nice.
quick question. Did your students enjoy learning Flipgrid this week? Was that a fun little experience for them? Have they told you about Flipgrid yet? Yes? Okay. Awesome. Okay. Because we're going to be using that platform very frequently for multiple subjects. Perfect. Will the daily agenda tell them if they have enrichment classes that day? Yes. Well, mine has writing all over it, but the schedule is blocked off and it's color coordinated, and also the enrichment schedule is on there as well. So you understand that there are some blank spots, and that's so your child can complete the Google Classroom assignments that are on the Google Classroom, to give them some time to complete those there. I'm so happy they like the Flipgrid. Great.
I have a question. And I'm sure this is gonna vary, you know, in each household and everything, but what is your expectation for what the level, like how much the parents need to check in with the kids? Like, you know, because daily throughout the day, I'll just be like, hey, are you good? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Do you need like technical support? But other than that, I really let him be independent and just trust that he's doing his stuff. And then kind of towards the end of the week, I'll check in and be like, okay, let's go through and see, like, what are you missing? What, you know, like, what are your, but I don't know what is the right amount of time I need to be checking in with him every day, every hour, once a week. You know, what's your expectation for us?
That's a great question. In 4th grade, as a parent, I know this is going to be so hard, but it's more independent work. This is the 4th grade year is when we start to work on more independence with your child, with completing tasks that are given, working on time management, things like that. So as I think checking in at the end of the day, just to make sure that their assignments were completed, that is perfect. If your child needs extra help with certain areas, it is okay to review the work, but also I do not want you to feel that you have to reteach them, because that is my job. So if your child is struggling with a math concept or not understanding the story that we're reading, and you want to let me know, that is completely fine. If you just send me a quick message, you know, Miles was really having a tough time understanding the questions for reading today. If he's not at that level, to let me as a teacher know that. And then part of being in 4th grade is I want the students to become self-advocates for themselves. So if they have a question, I want them to have the confidence to ask that question. And if they can master that skill in 4th grade, 5th grade will become easier, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. And they learn that making mistakes is okay. They do not need to turn in perfect work every single time. They have to try their best and make mistakes, because that's how they learn from their mistakes. Did that answer your question? Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's
So,
okay.
in our case, we're the probably exact opposite of Miles, unfortunately, but on the opposite, and so you would rather have him just turn in whatever it is that is his, right, wrong, and different. And basically, I mean, I guess that's what I'm asking. You want the transparency of it, because okay. So yes, I'm just gonna let him give you exactly how it looks, regardless what it looks to me, and then we'll go from there. Yes. Okay.
Because then him and I will have a conversation.
Okay.
He has to learn to take ownership for his work, and to learn to have pride in his work, and to not rush, and to really and making mistakes is okay. I know that's really hard, but me as a teacher, if I see what your student is capable of, that helps me plan for the lessons in the future, so then I can really meet your students where they're at.
Okay.
I know it's hard.
Yeah, well, that's okay. Thank you.
Mrs. Santiago, is there a keyboarding class available since they are typing more? Yes. So the technology teachers, they're meeting on Mondays. Yes, so 1:30 to 2:15, they're going to be doing check-ins with your children, and we use a program called All of the Right Type. So they will be assigning them assessments and assignments for them to complete for their technology, and it's strictly typing for the large majority of it. There are some coding activities, and there are going to be lessons where they learn how to navigate the internet correctly. So we call that digital citizenship. So 9 and 10-year-olds, yes, they are tech savvy, but it's also our job to teach them how to use it appropriately and give them the tools. So they will be using the All the Right typing program.
So if a student has a question, do you prefer them to use the private comment based on that assignment that they have a question about? Is that how you want them to ask the question of you?
So if they have a question and it's after the office time, then definitely the private comment would be most beneficial. If they have a question at 9:45 and I'm meeting with them at 10, they can just wait till the office hour and then ask me the question there. So it just depends on when the office hour time is.
Okay. So it's what I'm saying, it's best if they can talk to you personally about their question, right?
Yes.
So, okay, got it.
Yes.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. We do not have that ability in the classroom. So the more face-to-face we get, the better.
Agreed. I'd much rather answer a question in person.
It's easier. I
Yeah,
find myself typing a lot if I'm just answering a simple question.
That makes sense.
One quick question.
Yes.
Once the kids, hopefully we all go back to school and the kids are in person some right? But once that happens, will they be responsible or expected to bring their laptops with them to class every day? Will that be part of their curriculum?
I believe by that time we will have Chromebooks for them, and we will keep them at school.
Okay.
I can confirm that.
Thank you. I was 85% sure of my answer.
That's correct. You're doing great.
Okay, great. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys, I showed this to the kids earlier, but sometimes it's better to just see it for ourselves. So if you go to, okay, if you go to the 4th grade classroom and you go to their classwork and you scroll all the way down, there's a distance learning resources tab, and you click on distance learning resources for students, and the Tiger Tech Help Desk is right there for your students. If you have a question on how to upload a picture to an assignment, how to navigate Google Classroom, they have different sections and topics, and if you scroll down, they have multiple videos under that topic to help your student. So here it says how to digitize a PDF or photo worksheet using Google Slides. Don't worry, they will not have to do that in 4th grade. I do that for them. And there's helpful ones, a student view of Google Classroom, Google Classroom cheat sheet, how to attach a photo to Google Classroom, how to attach a photo to Google Classroom from your desktop, and this one is obviously from your phone. If you have Class Dojo questions, general computer help, they have a plethora of videos over here that are very helpful, and they have taken a lot of time to organize it. And this has been helpful. And it also helps your student and your child become a little bit more independent as well. And there's some comments. Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Ramirez and Mrs. Galino and Miss Oliver. Great. Is it Contreras? Did I say that correctly? Or did I make, yes, okay. I'm still learning. Fabulous. Some of you might know that in 4th grade there is a rule that I give the students. They are not allowed to say the words good or nice. So I think it's fun to tell the parents to even catch them at home, and so they can really build their vocabulary and not say something is good or nice, and just and even sometimes I slip, and they love it when a teacher slips up. You said a naughty word. And so it's just building their vocabulary and kind of making it a fun little activity. And they don't even know that we're building their vocabulary. That's part of being a teacher. You have to be sneaky with what you teach them. They have fun with it, so they don't even realize that it's education. You're welcome. On Monday, I will be posting the Google Live schedule for your reference. I strongly suggest you print out the live schedule and you put that somewhere where it's visible. And if necessary, put alarms either on their iPads or their Chromebooks, so a notification goes off if they have a class that they need to get to. And also them practicing kind of a block schedule in a sense. When did you say, Ms. Tucker?
Definitely. And prepping for it is the big key.
If we can get them used to a block schedule now, superb. We're doing our job.
They'll be ready when they get to middle school.
Yeah, they're going to be like, oh, no big deal. I have this.
Ms. Bautista, this is Erica, Landry's mom. I had a question.
Yes.
So there's many of us using the Wi-Fi, and we had some dropping, I think it was yesterday. And so Landry, going back to what Bianca was talking about, she had started her question of the day and then lost it. So I had her do it in a Google Doc and then copy and paste it into there. Is there any reason why that's not a good practice?
Oh, so that has been brought up to my attention, and the question form, to type your answer into the question, that is only for the question of the day. All the others assignments will be made into they either have to type into a Google Doc or a Google Slideshow. So I did make that adjustment.
Okay, so, but I know there's something, I don't remember which, where they can only type into that area.
Then you're
And so
you're referring to the question of the day. Are you saying that
Okay.
it would be easier with the question of the day to be in a Google Doc form?
She just typed it in the Google Doc form, then copied it, and then pasted it into your format. She was just stressed out because she lost it and had to, retype it. Because
Okay.
on the Google Drive or the Google Doc, it saves it as you're working.
Okay. I will make that adjustment for the question of the day, so it will automatically be a Google Doc. So she won't ever lose her work again because it'll be in the Google Doc. I'll make that adjustment.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. It's time to switch. I only see one. Okay. It's looking like we need to switch. You had the same issue? Okay. I will make that adjustment and I will change the question of the day to just be in a Google Doc. I'm writing myself a note so I don't forget.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bautista.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good evening. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Why?
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye, Mrs. Batista.
Goodbye. Bye. All right. Thank you. Are these new families that have not been in back to school night? Trying to see who is new.
Sorry, not new, but I missed the very beginning of the presentation.
Okay, great for me to know.
Thank you. When I came in, you were already past the oh gosh, I'm forgetting what they're called, the project, your main project. So I was like, I missed the first few slides.
It's looking like they're gonna kick us out and then send us back to.
I just brought everyone back. I had one family that needed to go to 4th grade.